Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30 this Tuesday, June 24th. And look at this trading day. Awesome. We are up here. Nasdaq made a new high. ES is not quite there. They're just there. They're just there. Look how close they are. 61.60 and the 66 in the range. We're going to be making new highs. And I'm thinking that they're going to do it. Probably going to do this going into the close. So I'm not. I was watching this. I was waiting for them to knock it down so they had a little bit of selling. But it looks to me like the squeeze is on, at least for now. We'll see what happens in the overnight. But it could also be the last 10 minutes. You get a little bit of selling. But we are right up here against the high. So we'll start from the long side. See how far they can take it on the upside. I'm going to buy weakness. At this point, it's going to be obvious. The 6140s, the single print at 6130s, back down here to the 6115s. Maybe a little bit lower. Maybe the 6110s is going to be the edge for tomorrow. We'll see. But we look to buy weakness for rotations up right now. Unless we get a pretty good sell-off right at the close or before the close, the profit taking kind of a sell-off, would you be a little bit less aggressive? But it looks to me like the squeeze is on. If that ceasefire holds, and the war in the Middle East has changed. It's basically over, and there's no nuke threat from Iran anymore. I think these guys are absolutely going for it, so that could be a pretty freaking good thing going on there. So we are. So at this point, looking to buy weakness going into the overnight. And Nasdaq and the bonds. Let me see. For Nasdaq and the bond market, just kind of hold them in the range. Not much going on that guy. And at this point, I would just start off a range bound with a slight bias to the upside, given as long as you hold above that 114.10. So looking to buy weakness. We're going to be I had to take a look at this. We're going to be an edge here at the mode at 114.20, then the edge down here at the 114.10 to 12. Rotations back up. Below 12s, look for retracement trade and take off the long bias. On the Nasdaq, along the side of the market, look at that last rotation. Oops, didn't I switch this? Let me see. Yeah, can't see my little green run. So anyway, so on the Nasdaq, it definitely made a nice move. They had a little pull back here, a little pop here. I was waiting for them to knock it down here from this pop. They may still do it. This to me looks like that last hurrah to the upside. But it could be also that they keep squeezing it. So it's hard to say, but I'm going to be looking for that for a retracement trade, at least like into the closer profit, the profit taking kind of dynamic. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be super aggressive hopping on the short side here. You don't want to get caught going into the close of the day. So, but ES making new highs. Let's see if the Nasdaq can do something out of it. It looks like they popped a little bit earlier, but they made a new high right up here, 450s, 440, 450. The high was at 447.50, not quite 450, but man, this is pretty nice, right? So that's how we go there. Um, Finally, oil and gold. So start from the long side on Nasdaq. Looks to buy weakness going to be a buying opportunity at the 375s against these single prints at 345 to 50s, and also against that mode at the 22 300s. Rotations back up. I'm going to be adjusting these going into tomorrow. Finally, oil and gold. Both of these guys, and not much happening. Oil is kind of in a holding pattern around 64, 65. I'm thinking they're going to take it lower. Just kind of holding against that reverse retest of support at the 64s. So what I'm talking about here is basically this. It's like a reverse retest of this support area right there is where they are. So 63, 64, 63.90 to 64.30 somewhere there, that's the support area. That comes out, look for a rotation right down to 61 again. And that's going to happen pretty quick because I mean there's nothing there's still a little bit of a risk premium on there, but it can come off pretty quick. And gold could not make it above the 37s, so stay still. I mean at this point I'm going to start off range bound, start looking at the see if they can trade up above that 36, 37s, but look to buy against the 29s, look to sell against the 45s to see if they can trade outside of the little range here. But chances are we may see some weakness into going into tomorrow. That depends on kind of where they close. It looks to me like we're getting a little pop here going into the close. So I would start off range bound on gold, maybe slight buys to the upside to see if you can retest these highs. But unless they take out the 45 to 47s here, I'm going to stay range bound and kind of eyeing the short side of this. So that's where we look at there. Looking back to the ES, and okay, still holding on there, still holding on. Let me see what the news looks like for tomorrow morning. So tomorrow we have New home sales at 10, nothing at 8:30. New home sales at 10, and Powell testifying again at 10. 10:30 we have an oil report and a 5-year auction at 1. So that's about it. That's what we got tomorrow. All right, so not a whole lot of news, but that's a little bit. Alrighty, guys, we'll wrap it there. I'll see you back bright and early in the morning. So yes, that one trade on the Nasdaq earlier on for $7, and I haven't really traded since. Kind of watching this in disbelief. That squeeze to the upside. It seemed to be missing the opportunities to get in on that one. But anyway, so that's the one trade I took today. All right, guys, see you back in the morning. Later.